All right, I'm just testing my Facebook Live StreamYard. I'm going through StreamYard. Hey, everybody. Good morning. It's Mitch. We're going to start the radio show in about 30 seconds. So,
Yep, 30 seconds.
Not making anybody wait like 6 minutes. I didn't realize I don't really go on until like 9:07. So, hello, everybody in Facebook land, LinkedIn land,
20 seconds.
Twitter, YouTube. We're going to get started. 15 seconds. You can hear the music. If you have any questions, ask me in the comments. I love hearing from you. Your support is greatly appreciated. We've got a couple of viewers out there already, and we're going to start the radio show. You're going to hear the music any second.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.
Good morning, Long Island. Hello there. It's Wednesday. Okay, let's cut the music here and let's get into the show. Today's a special day because my mom turns 81 today. So shout out to you, Mom. I love you, and I'll see you tonight. And we're looking forward to celebrating. Okay, so welcome to Money in the Morning with Mitch Goldberg. Thank you so much for joining me. I want to reiterate, I said this yesterday. I'm going to say it again. And I will say it again as often as you feel the listener is necessary. I greatly appreciate you being here and joining us. I realize so many of you turn on the radio this morning to 103.9 FM LI News Radio and expected to hear somebody else, Brian. We've had a little change. We're changing some things. We're making it more Long Island. We're bringing in more business people from Long Island to teach you things and talk to you about things. And I am very fortunate to be among those people because I, too, am a Long Islander. I, too, suffer with the high cost of living along with you on Long Island. But I love it. I love living here. So I want to bring value to my fellow Long Islanders. We're talking about money. We're talking about business. We're talking about the stock market. We're talking about the economy. We're talking about the number one today, the number one goal for anyone, the financial goal is retirement. Everything's about retirement. So we're going to talk about the Secure Act 2.0. You might not have heard of this, but it doesn't really matter if you know the name or not. What matters is you know what it does, what it's about, and what's in it for you. There's a lot of goodies in here. First, I just want to do a quick shout out and thank the incomparable, amazing, velvety, smooth Jay Oliver, who precedes my show, who is just the king of talk radio and just keeps the fun and the conversation going. So thank you, Jay. And after the show, we have Back to Business with David Levenstein. So stick around after the show and listen to David. He's got great guests all the time. Dow futures are down almost 300 points. S&P down 45 points. That's a little over 1%. And the NASDAQ is down almost 2%. In the futures market, down a little over 200 points. I always like to say a 1% move in any of the major averages gets my attention, but when you get to 2%, that definitely gets my attention. Oil is up a drop, up 2 cents on West Texas Intermediate. By the way, West Texas Intermediate, that's the nice stuff that we supply domestically. We drill for that here in the Gulf of Mexico. That's our stuff that we produce. Brent is the stuff that that's produced. That's foreign sourced. Excuse me. Brent C, OPEC, Russian oil. That's Brent, and that's about. I think it's about 87, 88 a barrel. It's more expensive because it costs more to bring it here, as opposed to just our domestic good stuff. The 10-year Treasury yield is going lower, about 3.45%. Mortgage rates are coming down a little bit. I think they're about 6.25%, 6.2%. And a headline I saw before, this is what it was. This is just to give you an example of some of the hyperbole in financial news. Weekly mortgage demand jumps. They use the word jumps. 7% as interest rates drop to the lowest level since September. Well, I'm glad that mortgages are up. Refinancing is up a little bit, about 15%, but most of it is new home sales. And it just goes to show you that investors are more home buyers are more sensitive to interest rates than they are to price. And so far, the talk of a housing Armageddon, a housing market crash, have not materialized. I'm not saying that in certain parts of the country like Boise, Idaho, and Austin, Texas, and other areas that became red hot once the pandemic started. I'm not saying those areas aren't cooling down substantially. There's overbuilding. But in our little region on Long Island, we still are facing a big deficit of housing stock. So home loans are moving up a little bit. Applications for refinances are up. They're still 77% lower last year, this week. So that's why I get a little crazy when you see the headline, mortgage, applications jump. They're down almost 80% from a year ago. So if they have a little bit of a move now on a smaller base, it's going to be more magnified. And that's why you get to use the word jump. Okay. Hey, Sebastiano, I do hear a little bit of an echo. Sebastiano is in the studio and my producer. So we are looking at a couple of things. Well, let's talk a little bit more about the housing market, because I'm going to have some guests to talk about that too. But inventory is still low. Everybody who I speak with in residential real estate, they're all waiting until March to see if more listings come on. A very dear friend of mine who is with Wells Fargo Mortgage. He's a mortgage broker for Wells Fargo, and he's a successful one there. And he does usually like 15 mortgages a month. He told me now he's lucky if he gets 3. If he gets 2, he's happy. If he gets 3, he's ecstatic. Mortgage deals. That's closings. That's how tough it is. So maybe he'll get back up to 5 or 8 or 10. But the market's different now. The easy money is over. The interest rates are higher. Home values have not come down much. So interest rates are still double what they were a year ago in the mortgage market, mortgage rates. So it's still a very expensive place to be. Okay, so having said that, I appreciate everybody joining me. And I just want to say, again, I'm looking at some of the comments on Facebook, and I was told not to look at them because they're not the nicest. But I'm not going to use last names. I'm just going to say about my show, George says he'd rather listen to paint drying. Where's Brian Kilmeade? A bunch of question marks and exclamation marks. And then Tony, come on, RCN, where's Kilmeade? This is not going to end well for your viewership. And Jerry, my man, says, I am ready to slit my wrists. Yesterday, thought it was a glitch. Bring Brian back. Okay. So if any of you are not metaphorically, at least, about to slit your wrists, I appreciate you being here and giving us a chance over at 103.9 FM, LI News Radio, to give you value. And that's what we are all about here. We want to give you value. So the things that I want to talk about today is retirement. And there's been a watershed moment with the passage of the Secure Act 2.0. And what this means is it gives you some things in it that you could prepare better for retirement. One of the issues, though, with this is that you have to make the money to take advantage of the things in the Secure Act 2.0. So this is for people who are gainfully employed. And I realize some of you want different kinds of advice, but I want to get into this right now. All right. So first of all, it continues with Roth conversions with no income limit. Okay. Continues with backdoor Roth IRAs as well. But Roth, so let me just get into this because we might not have enough time to do everything today. But do you know what a Roth conversion is? It's when you have an IRA, a traditional IRA, and you convert it into a Roth IRA. There's downsides. When you take the money out of your IRA, the whole thing is a taxable distribution. So if you take $100,000 out of your IRA, you owe taxes on that $100,000, and it could raise your tax bracket. And then you put that money into your Roth IRA. So you have $100,000 in your Roth IRA, but you could owe, let's say, $25,000 to $35,000, maybe. Okay. I don't give tax advice, by the way. I'm not your tax advisor. So if you want something specific, if you have a specific tax question, speak with your tax advisor. Okay. We don't give tax advice. I have to say that disclaimer. But the advantage is when you're old and gray, some of us are already there, present company included. So when you are taking the money out of your Roth IRA down the road, you don't have to pay any taxes on that money, and you don't even have to take money out of it. There's no required minimum distribution. So for many of you, it pays to do it. What you're doing is you're kind of future-proofing your taxes by knowing what you're going to pay now and taking out any potential tax implications down the road from your IRA. So that's what a Roth conversion is meant to do. So you get tax-free growth, not just tax-deferred growth, because when you take the money out, the money grows in a Roth IRA tax-deferred, but you take it out, it's tax-free. So there are huge advantages to doing that, providing you could pay the taxes. If you have to pay the taxes out of the IRA when you make the distribution, then have a lot less money going into your Roth IRA. The question of whether or not you should do this really kind of makes it much more questionable of a move. Okay. So that is the first part. We've got like 10 parts of this. So this is going to take some time. Anyway, what I'm here to do is teach you about your money and educate you about the questions that you may have about your finances. Thanks so much for joining us. Stick around. We're going to get into some more good stuff. And I'll see you in about a minute on the other side of the commercials. You're listening to LI News Radio 103.9 FM.
Alrighty, 10 minutes on the clock, and you got a minute and 50 left. How you feeling?
Feel good, just drippy, very drippy. You know, I'm gonna have to start taking like an Allegra or something at night.
Gotcha. David said good attack on with the Facebook stuff.
You what?
David said good attack with the Facebook stuff.
Good attack?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Minute remaining. $40 seconds. $30 seconds.
30 seconds. Okay. Well, you know, sometimes I forget I'm actually streaming to
20
Facebook.
seconds?
Okay. All right. Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you so much. You're the best. I blow my nose. I don't even look at the screen. Oh, I hope I didn't pick my nose. Okay. We're getting ready to go. Okay, the music is back on, which means I'm back on. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Mitch Goldberg. You're listening to Money in the Morning with Mitch Goldberg. Thank you very much for giving us a chance. I know some of you were expecting somebody different when you turned on the radio today, but it's just me. And I'm here to be, you know, your guide, your Sherpa. I know an awful lot about managing money, personal finance, borrowing, you name it, especially investing. I'm a financial advisor for over 30 years. So, you know, I have a lot of experience, and I'm extraordinarily honored that the fine folks at LI News Radio gave me the tap to be on their station, especially at this particular time. So I appreciate you giving me a chance, and I look forward to seeing some more of your comments, whatever you want to say on Facebook. Some of them are pretty funny, and I hope none of you are going to hurt yourselves or anything. Well, if you want to listen to this in the replay, I have a YouTube channel. So if you have insomnia tonight, You go to my YouTube channel, Client First Strategy, and I assure you, you will get a good night's sleep. Okay, we're talking about the Secure Act 2.0. Lots of goodies for people who are preparing for retirement. And that probably is about 99% of you listening to me right now. So the next thing is qualified charitable distribution. This is for people a little bit older. And I don't know exactly the demographic here. I think most of you are like, I'm just going to guess like 40 to 60. Okay. But maybe more, maybe 70, maybe more. But a qualified charitable distribution is for people who are 70 and a half and over who want to get a tax break to give money to charity. You still get the tax break even if you take the standard deductions. So even though the required minimum distribution age is now 72, you could still do a qualified charitable distribution at the age of 70 and a half. And that means when you take money out of your IRA, instead of taking the money and depositing it into your checking account, you have the IRA distribution sent directly to a qualified charity of your choice. And you don't pay income tax on the IRA distribution. So it's a way to get a tax break and give money to charity. And you don't have to be old enough to take the required minimum distribution. It starts at age 70 and a half. So that's actually was already in place, but it is staying in place. And I was really happy to see that. Okay. Charities, they're always fundraising. They always need your money. They don't just need your money around Christmas time. They need it all year round. Okay. All right. Let's talk about required minimum distribution. This is a biggie because I think there's a little not controversy, a little confusion though. If you're born 1950 and earlier, your required minimum distribution from your IRA starts at 72. That means last year. Last year, people born in 1950 started turning 72. And if you work for a company and you have a 401k plan, or you work for a hospital system, for example, and you have a 403b plan, where you're a teacher and you have a 403b, when you leave your job, you do something called a rollover. You roll over that money into a self-directed IRA. And then when you turn 72, if you're born before 1950, that money goes in. You have to start taking required minimum distributions. That'll typically be, this is just a rough rule of thumb, about 4 to 4.25% of the value of your IRA. Okay. So just to give you an idea of where that could be. But now if you're born between 1951 and 1959, your RMD happens at 73. Now, if you're like me and you're born after 1960, for me, I'm born 1967. But if you're born 1960 or later, the RMD age starts at age 75. So it's when you hear, this is what I was saying, was like some people there's maybe controversy or confusion. The age 75 required minimum distribution doesn't start until 1935. Well, that makes sense because people who were born in 1960 aren't turning 75 until 2035. So 2035, the age limit for the RMD is age 75. This is really good news if you're born after 1960. The IRS wants you to take money out of your IRA because they want the tax money. But this really could delay it for those of you who don't have to take distributions from your IRA. So it's definitely a gift for people who have assets, in my opinion. I'm surprised it got through, but it did, and I think that's going to be good for many of you. If you're fortunate enough to be a person who could skip RMDs until you're 75. Okay, so that's a pretty big one. The next one that I want to cover, I'm trying to cover the more interesting ones. Oh, yeah, this is going to be juicy, okay? Any business owners out there? Any self-employed people out there? You now have a Roth option for the simple IRA and the SEP IRA. Wow. You could put a ton of money into SEP IRAs, and you could put pretty decent money into a simple. Okay, I think the limit is 15,500. So you now could do a Roth simple and a Roth SEP. That's new. That starts in 2023. That starts now. So when you start doing your taxes next year, you could do that. So this is a big thing if you're a business owner. Now here's the way why I want to clear this up between IRAs and Roth IRAs, SEP IRAs, simple IRAs, IRAs. They're all IRAs versus a Roth IRA. You get a tax deduction when you put money into a 401k or an IRA. Okay. So if you make $100,000, you put $6,500 into your IRA, your taxable income becomes $93,500. So because you weren't taxed on that last $6,500, maybe you save $2,000 on average person, $2,500 in taxes. But the money grows. And then when you take the money out 20, 30 years later, 10 years later, 40 years later, depending on how old you are, when you put the money in, you pay the taxes on that. And presumably that money will grow. So you'll be paying taxes on a much bigger base than $6,500 down the road. But if you do a Roth, you skip a tax deduction that's probably going to be much, much smaller than what you're going to save on taxes down the road from a Roth IRA. Because you take the money out of a Roth IRA, you don't pay taxes on it. You don't get the deduction, the income tax deduction. But I think most people I speak to who contribute money to an IRA, my clients, it's because they go to their accountant and they say, I want to do what I can to save on taxes. So reflexively, the accountant says, oh, put money into an IRA, take the tax deduction, that'll lower your taxes for the year. But what people don't say to the accountant is, I want to reduce my tax bill 20 or 30 years from now. If that's the case, then you have to do a Roth IRA. And that's what makes a financial advisor a good person to go to, I guess, for financial advice, because we're not just thinking about your taxes now. Plus, usually when people speak to their accountant, it's during tax season, just when their accountant has like no time to speak to you. The time to speak to your accountant about your taxes is, let's say, 6 months or more before tax season, not during tax season when they really don't want to talk to you. They just want to get the tax return work done. Okay. So there are some gifts in the Secure Act 2.0. And, it's boring stuff, but you need to know about it, because if it's for your retirement, it's not so boring. It does become exciting. Okay. So that is what the deal is. Rhonda on my Facebook page says, I thought the new age for RMDs is 73. Well, it depends on the years you were born. Okay. If you were born between 1951 and 1959, then the RMD is age 73. So I don't know when you were born, but that would tell you when it is. Okay. Anyway, we've got a lot more to talk about. We're not going to finish it all today because a half-hour show goes by so freaking fast. I wish these options were here for me years ago, but I'm definitely going to be taking advantage of a bunch of these. Stay tuned for Back to Business with David Levenstein coming up in a couple of minutes. My name is Mitch Goldberg. I'm a financial advisor for over 30 years. I know an awful lot about financial matters, from budgeting to personal finance to leasing cars, all the things that we deal with literally on a daily basis. I greatly appreciate you taking the time to listen. I will be back to you very soon. See you tomorrow.
Securities and investment advisory services are offered through Next Financial Group Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Client First Strategy is not an affiliate of Next Financial Group Incorporated. All the views expressed are those of Mitchell Goldberg and Client First Strategy and not those of Next Financial Group Incorporated. Views are general in nature and not intended to be investment advice. Any discussion of individual securities should not be construed as a recommendation or solicitation by our presenters. Next Financial Group Incorporated does not provide tax advice.
And we're off. Thank you very much, Sebastiano.
No problem. Always a pleasure working for you.
Take care, everybody in Facebook land. I'll see you all at 4:30. All right. Yeah. So I hope I did okay.